So when it comes to Dragon Ball Fighters, I'm kind of just sitting around and waiting, more so for the next game, more than the DLC to finish up for season two. But I will say I'm very excited for both Gogeta and Brawly. Obviously, everyone likes Gogeta, and Gogeta Blue is one of the most hyped things they've done in a long time. But I have Brawly in Dragon Ball Legends, the mobile game, and he's one of my best units, and I'm starting to really like the guy, and I like that he's not just like a pure evil villain this time. I like that he's got some character to him, and we don't exactly know what the future holds for Brawley yet. So I'm excited, for I want to see what these characters are like, and maybe it'll give us some inkling of an idea of what we get for the next game. Something while I'm not playing the game as much, I'm still watching a lot of YouTube content involving people playing Goku GT at a high level online. And I was one of those people. I was one of those people before Fighters ever came out that said, hey, the first 8 DLC characters, they should try to include Kid Goku. That would be really cool. That would be a lot better than including base Goku. Well, now we have 2 base Gokus, but one's a kid, and he can also turn Super Saiyan 3, even though we already have a Super Saiyan Goku who can turn Super Saiyan 3. But I digress. I mean, it was really cool seeing an online combo where Super Saiyan, Kid Goku turned into Super Saiyan 3 to shoot Super Kamehameha, and then he linked that into the level 3 for Super Saiyan Goku, where he turned Super Saiyan 3 right next to him, so it was 2 Super Saiyan 3 Gokus assaulting this guy. Pretty cool combo, and stuff like that's cool. It's still isn't as cool as my favorite combo in the game, which is doing Vegeta's level 1 into Goku and Vegeta's cross Kamehameha Gallic Gun level 1s. If you have Goku Blue and Vegeta Blue as your partners with Vegito Blue, you can do that. I call it the defuse combo because Vegito flies away, and then Goku and Vegeta are both in at the same time, shooting Kamehameha and Gallic Gun in a diagonal cross. It looks fucking cool. Stuff like that I really enjoy. But I also have to say that while watching this, it really shows off how awesome GT was, and it's really remarkable because I felt like to show any good side of GT in a game that's so heavily based around Dragon Ball Super, like Dragon Ball Fighters is very, very much so the Android Saga, and Dragon Ball Super specifically around the Goku Black arc. Like everything in that game is all about those. It's all about Dragon Ball Super and the Android Saga. That's basically what that game is all about. Even Frieza more so represents his Dragon Ball Super self than he does his old school self. So seeing a character like that kick ass and look so cool, that's awesome because I thought they would need Super Saiyan 4 Goku as a playable character to do that. It's very obvious we are not getting Super Saiyan 4 Goku. You can be Super Saiyan 4 Goku as a lobby avatar character. Now, this is pretty cool because you could be Super Saiyan 3 Goku, even though he's not playable, because Super Saiyan Goku turns to Super Saiyan 3. Now, and most characters have multiple lobby avatars. Some of them get alt costumes, but if they have another character model involved, like Android 17, you can, before he became a playable character, you could use him because he was an assist. You know? Same thing with the Ginyu Force. Every Ginyu Force member had his own little lobby avatar. So, I mean, so with Goku GT, you could be Goku GT, but you can also be Super Saiyan 4 Goku, which is cool because you can choose to be, Goku Super Saiyan, Goku Super Saiyan 3, Goku Super Saiyan 4, Goku Super Saiyan Blue. You can be any of those things. So that's really cool. Those are all included with the lobby avatars. But what I want to talk about is it really showcases how awesome Kid Goku is in GT, because in GT you got the Dragon Ball style Kid Goku but with a much greater power boost. I mean, we're talking Goku after Z. Yes, he was turned to a kid, which made him a little bit weaker, but he still had, even with a little bit weaker, he still had the ability to go Super Saiyan 3 for some moves. He kind of managed his ki very wisely. He wasn't, I think he fought Super Saiyan more so than anything else, just kind of like how normal Goku fights most of the time anyway. He fights mostly Super Saiyan. So it's really cool. But what it made me really think about, and I know it took me almost 5 minutes to get to the point here, but the reason why I bring that up, because it really makes me think about how worthless and how dirty they did Goten. Goten was the perfect opportunity to write Kid Goku into the show again And I mean, that's clearly what they were going for, as Goten looks like a redesigned version of Kid Goku already. Now, when it comes to Dragon Ball Super, a lot of people complain about this and that with certain characters. Like, people really, for a while, were really mad about how they did Gohan, how they did Goten and Tien and Krillin and all those guys in Super. People are mad about that, mostly with Gohan. And to me, Super kind of is the way it is because Z already exhausted all possible character paths for each character. Like for Vegeta, the logical conclusion was for him to like train up and just kind of, instead of being Goku's rival and bitter enemy, be more of his like partner in a way, you know, especially with how they handled the Buu saga. I mean, you never saw Goku and Vegeta fight together at all in the entirety of Z. I remember when I was playing Dragon Ball Sagas on PS2. Remember that 3D beat 'em up game with Dragon Ball Z characters as two-player? A cutscene ended where Goku and Vegeta and on Namek were fighting together against the uh, Ginyu Force, and it made me think like that's how the cutscene ends, so that way they can make the two-player make sense. And it's so funny because if you watch the actual show, at that point where Goku and Vegeta are standing side by side, Vegeta immediately flies away because Akira Toriyama literally never had Goku and Vegeta fight side by side. They literally never did that until the Buu saga. That was on purpose. And if you didn't catch that, I mean, you didn't catch it, but I was such a DBZ fan that when I would play that game, I'd play sagas. When I saw Goku and Vegeta together, I immediately thought like, man, it would be so cool to actually see them fight together. And it just kind of blows my mind that people are not impressed with what we got in Super, because it's just like the end of the Boo saga, but continued because Goku and Vegeta are a team. But that's the thing. That was the logical conclusion for Vegeta, was to not be so selfish and work with Goku more as a team, and that's what they're kind of exploring deeper in Super a lot further. Goku and Vegeta, yeah, they're definitely a two-man crew at this point. They're like the two defenders of Earth together, and they keep pushing each other and pushing each other. And if Goku's gonna do something, Vegeta's gonna do it. And what's funny is that in Dragon Ball Super, in between Resurrection of F and uh, God of Destruction, the first movie, in between those two movies, we learned that Vegeta went off to go train with Whis and get stronger because Goku was already way stronger than him and he needed to get stronger. And Goku was like, if Vegeta's going to do it, then I'm going to do it. So the two of them, Goku knows Vegeta's like right around on his level, and the two of them are just like, no, they got to keep it up. Like they gotta always keep fighting, and they can't do something. If someone does one thing, then the other one's got to do it too, because they got to both keep it up. So when you talk about why it's the Goku and Vegeta show, well, it's the logical conclusion for the characters. If you want to see more Gohan stuff, I would just tell you to rewatch Z, because Gohan already learned all of the life lessons he could get learned. Like, Gohan got so much character development in Z. It's not He's basically the main character of Z, with Goku. Goku's kind of more of like the mentor, Obi-Wan style character for a lot of Z. I mean, really. Um, yes, Goku has the big showdown with Frieza, but that was a great culmination of everything Goku was building towards for his entire for not for the entirety of Dragon Ball, but for the entirety of Dragon Ball Z. Ever since Raditz stepped foot on the planet Earth, it's been setting up this idea that Goku's an alien, and Goku's a part of a much bigger picture that he did never realize. And Goku goes and topples the guy. He goes and defeats the guy who set all of that shit in motion in the first place, because he's Goku and he's gonna beat you. So again, like, Goku got his main story arc in the Frieza saga. Gohan got his main story arc in the Cell saga. But even in the Buu saga, Gohan got a huge story arc, a huge boost in story. And it really showed that Gohan, was like, yeah, I don't want to be the defender. I want to relax. And Goku's back. Goku's going to be the defender. And that's kind of the point. But where does that leave Goten? Because Goten didn't even really get his time of day in Dragon Ball Z. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not really blaming Dragon Ball Super here, because Goten's potential was wasted from the start. Now, Akira Toriyama was in a weird position, I believe, because people really liked Future Trunks, and he had these two characters, Trunks and Goten. He made they got no love in Z, but they got some more love in in the movies. Now in the movies, yes, they got love, but the way they did this, Goten is basically just Trunks' sidekick for the most part. That's the problem. Goten should be Goku GT. Now, am I saying Goten needs to turn Super Saiyan 3 and eventually Super Saiyan 4? No, of course not. But Goten needs to be basically Kid Goku, but in this new Dragon Ball Z world where people, are a lot stronger and they have the ability to fly and the ability to shoot ki. I mean, that's what GT Goku was. He was a revamped, redesigned, reintroduced Kid Goku. And the sad thing is they already had one. They already had Goten, but they never used them. It's almost like Goten was an idea, and Toriyama was like, "Yeah, sure, whatever. We'll just sure, whatever. I don't give a shit." And he didn't really decide to do anything with Goten until Gotenks. The funny thing is that Kid Trunks has something to him. Trunks is an interesting character. It's Vegeta's only son. Now Vegeta has another kid, but for a while it was Vegeta's only child, and it's the child of Vegeta and Bulma, who are very different personalities, and Trunks came from a future that was really dark, and so now he has a kid version of this character that everyone really loves, and he gets to make this version a lot more innocent. And so it's a very interesting character. I think Toriyama sees that for Kid Trunks because he pushes Kid Trunks to good heights. He does cool things with Kid Trunks. But he basically forgets that Goku's the main character a lot of the time, where he's like, well, I just like this character Trunks, and, Trunks and Goku have a connection. Well, Goten and Goku should have a connection too, don't you think? And Goten has, nothing. He does nothing. He's a big mama's boy, which that's not really the big issue. The big issue is that they don't do anything with that. They don't do anything with him. He's just kind of like, Chi Chi and Gohan had this great relationship because she was always pushing him to study and would get in the way of his training. And he wanted to go out and explore. He wanted to be more of a Z fighter, and she, wouldn't let him. And, Goten and Chi Chi don't have that relationship at all. In fact, it doesn't seem like she cares much about Goten. Not in the sense that she doesn't care that Goten is her family or whatever, but in the sense that Goten doesn't, have to study nearly as hard, and he mostly does like chores and farm work that Goku's supposed to be doing. She basically is like, Goten, I'm just gonna try a whole different parenting style with you, motherfucker. And Goten, to me, Goten very much seems like like almost like the middle child more than the baby of the family because he's so neglected, where he basically seems to be doing his own thing. I mean, he's practically raised by Trunks and being raised by, he has more involvement with the city life thanks to being around Trunks and Bulma so much. So it is a weird thing. Like they just, and it's not that they're doing anything with the character. Like all of those that what I just said about his character development, there is no character development for this character. He is the ultimate. He's like a good guy jobber. It really makes no sense. And yeah, and that it's like Goten's entire existence is just to buff Trunks. When Trunks needs to fight, he turns into Gotenks, and it's so bizarre to me because it's like there's such a great potential for this Kid Goku like character like Goten that could kick a lot of ass. I mean, what if Goten used the power pole? Would you guys be mad if Goten used the flying Nimbus or the power pole? Like, would you guys be mad? Be honest. Would you be mad? Because what if I said, well, it's at Goku's house, and maybe Gohan showed it to Goten, was like, this, I don't know how to use this. This was Dad's, and you don't know our dad yet, but here, this belonged to him, and you have to say power pole extend, and that makes the pole grow. And he's like, oh, okay. And it's basically he starts training in the way like Goku used to, and maybe he travels around the world and stuff. Or maybe instead Gohan just gives him a huge, quick boost and learns how to train, because it makes sense that Goten would want to be like his father since he's never met him, right? But again, everything I just said, this isn't even speculation. This is just not true. That just didn't happen. Goten didn't care. I mean, there was a scene where Goten and Goku met for the first time and they were happy to see each other. But, Gohan didn't get to see his dad that much when he was a kid. Sure. The entire Saiyan saga, the entire Namek saga, and basically the entire Android saga didn't get that much time with him. The most amount of time he really got with his dad was training before the androids came, and then training again before they fought Cell. Gohan didn't spend that much time with his dad. But talk about that. Talk about Goten, who didn't even know him when he was a baby. He didn't even know his dad until he was like 7 years old, right? It was 7 or 8. And so it's like, and now we skipped over all the character development of Goten and Goku, kind of being together. Goku just kind of, he almost treats Goten just like, it's his grandson. Like, he doesn't really care. Like, there's just not much emphasis on the bonding between them. And I think if Super comes back, they need to really do an episode, a focus episode of Goku and Goten doing things together, because some of the best episodes for me, again, people like to talk shit about Goku and Gohan's relationship, but right before the Cell saga, I mean, well, during the Cell saga, but right before the Cell games saga, I should say, right before they battled Cell, the Cell games, there was these great filler episodes about Goku and Gohan like bonding together and just hanging out and wearing casual clothes and just being like, yeah, man, we're gonna wait before we're gonna stay Super Saiyan at all times. We're gonna wait for this fight coming up. We're coming for you, Cell. We're fucking coming for you. And those were some great episodes of Goku and Gohan just being, a family, and not in like a family because, Chi wasn't there, but it was father son bonding that was kind of necessary, something that kind of needed for these characters, um, especially since like, when Goku and Gohan fought Cell for real, Goku basically said like, I know my son, I know him well, and I know he can do this. So it's like, you need that stuff. And I guess the thing is, if they do a focus episode on Goten, even that could be completely worthless. And the reason why is because if it goes nowhere, if Goten gets no character development at all, then there's no point in doing an episode like that with Goten, because that would just be pure fan service. But you could do fan service in a way that propels the plot forward. But when this would be fan service for the sake of fan service that wouldn't go anywhere or do anything. So, and I don't believe they'll do anything with Goten. I think Goten's full potential is just him fusing with Trunks, you know. And the funny thing is that we always want to see fusions. We want to see Goku fuse with Vegeta. We want to see Gohan fuse with future Trunks. We want to see Goten fuse with Trunks, whether it be young as kids or if it's in the GT timeline, or or with the Xeno versions of the characters from the Dragon Ball Heroes games. We want to see fusions like that. And Goten's whole point, his entire existence, is just for that. And that's why Trunks and Goten were the only two that ever fused. It seemed like Toriyama was okay with making them fuse constantly because they were like these little kids that could get to insane godlike, like insane powers that were like rivaling their Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan. I mean, I think it's safe to say that in the Buu saga, Gotenks was definitely stronger than Vegeta. I think Vegeta was actually on the very weaker side. I think Gohan outclassed Vegeta, Goku outclassed Vegeta, Gotenks outclassed Vegeta. Vegeta was stronger than Piccolo and Krillin, but big deal. Piccolo and Krillin didn't do anything in the Buu saga. If Piccolo and Krillin were even strong, it seems like were they even as strong as they were in the Android saga? Like, it's hard to even tell because they didn't do shit. So, I mean, yeah, really. So, well, all I'm saying here is like Goten, the possibilities for him to be a good character, they're kind of already over. Again, this is not me talking shit on Super, and I'm not talking shit on GT either. I'm actually just talking shit on Z because Z had to get him right. Super and GT are using what they got. And at least GT kind of gave him some personality, but he was still very much so a kind of useless side character. The more important time for Goten would have been to give him something to do during Z. They can give him something to do during Super, but it would be basically like recreating the entire character from scratch if they did anything, because he has no character. There's nothing to work on. So yeah, I mean, could they do this in Super? Could Goten just start training with Goku and fight more like Goku and basically become a super powerful Kid Goku character? Well, they're definitely loving selling us GT stuff. They're definitely loving it, whether it be the card games, whether it be the mobile games, whether it be now in Dragon Ball Fighters. They love involving GT. And a big part of why they involve loving GT is because if we involve GT with all the super stuff that keeps happening, then we keep getting Super Saiyan 4 versus whatever the new strongest thing Super Goku's been doing. So we love that. We love the idea of GT versus Super. We love that. I mean, they even made Super Saiyan 4 Goku fight Goku Blue in the Superheroes anime. So they know what we want. We know we all want it. We all love it. We all no one's debating it. We're all pretty down with this shit right now, aren't we? And I'm hoping they because what they did with Brawly was amazing. They took Brawly, this character who was completely uncanon, and they decided to completely recreate the character. Not to mention, they took that character's elements and put him into another character, and that gave us Kale. And Kefla has become one of my favorite two like pairings, fusion things, whatever you want to call it. Those two girls have become some of my favorite things involving Dragon Ball, and they keep me excited for Dragon Ball Super. They keep me wanting more. I want to know more about the Universe 6 Saiyans. I want to see more of the Universe 6 Saiyans, you know? So it's all really exciting to me. So the question is, can they do that? Can they do that with Goten, where they see GT Goku and they say, wow, this character's really popular. It's really awesome to have him. But we don't want to, surely they can't introduce Kid Goku into Super. That would just not work. But they could give Goten more of an active role and give him, more Kid Goku like charm and abilities. It would feel kind of unfitting if Goten started having all this personality out of nowhere, though. They have to work with what they already have. But they could take Goten and develop him over time into making him into a good fighter who does unique and fun things to watch. It could happen, and it would be really cool. But considering we don't even have Gotenks back, really, I mean, when's the last time you've seen Gotenks in Super? Like, maybe during the Beerus fight? Was it even, they even go Gotenks in that during Super, or is that just the movie? I don't even remember. Like, Gotenks is just not a factor anymore. And I mean, yeah, there was the filler stuff. There was the filler stuff with like the blue alien guy. That already, no one really liked that. Oh, he's a purple alien guy, but where he absorbed Vegeta, and they made Vegeta suck on a pacifier. Is that supposed to be a baby Vegeta joke? I'm not sure, but yeah, they don't do much with these characters, man. They really don't, and it's a shame. But again, this is much more me talking about Dragon Ball Z than it is Dragon Ball Super or GT, which I think honestly both did a fine job with Goten, because they're working with what Z already gave them, and Z kind of set them up for failure. So, yeah, as much as I love Dragon Ball Z, I do have some problems with it, and of course, I hope that doesn't upset anyone because I am criticizing one of the most highly criticized, most highly negative, opinionated sagas in the entirety of Dragon Ball history, which is the Buu saga. Lots of people have problems with the Buu saga, and while I like the Buu saga, I defend the Buu saga. It's very clear as day why people have problems with it. I mean, I'll be fair and honest to those people. Yeah, it's a messy saga and it's got its problems, man. And Goten is one of those problems, man. For sure, for sure. And I just oh, but you know what? It's fine because Super doesn't need to update the show to have the best of everything in the show. I'm super glad what they did with Brawly, but Brawly desperately needed that. Okay, Brawly is an embarrassment. Okay, most people have been mocking Brawly for a long time now, but he always will have that legion of fans, and he needed this reboot. He needed to be fixed, and they kept true to his original ideas and philosophy while completely giving him a brand new backstory, a brand new character motivation, a brand new drive, fixed his, cartoon villain like persona, made him more of like a berserker rage character that kind of justifies his, his anger and his brutality, and made him like a wild animal, which also justifies some of his brutality. And you got yourself a well written, awesome character that takes a really awesome character design and an awesome concept, and rebrands it, throws it into the new current of state of affairs involving Dragon Ball, which means he's far more powerful than he ever was. I mean, this is unbelievable scales of power, and it's just the tip of the iceberg with Brawly. And it looks like Super's going to be going further and further to the point where I'm hoping that the only way they, Brawly is outclassed by Goku is when Goku goes Ultra Instinct, because my God, is Brawly powerful, and my God, do I love that. I love it. I love it. I love what they have done with Brawly. Will they do the same with, Goten and GT Goku? Like putting GT Goku into Super by using Goten, fixing the problem with Goten being a bad character, as well as, bringing in a really cool style version of like a Kid Goku style character. It's not necessary. They don't need it for Super at all. It would be pure fan service if they did. The only reason why I really suggest this is because it's such a good character. GT Goku is a good ass character, and Goten is just worthless. So that's the only reason why I really suggest doing that. And I'll be completely real. Like I said, don't need it, not necessary at all. But to be completely fair, we don't need to see Cell come back in Super. We don't need to see Janemba come back in Super. Yes, seeing Frieza come back was really cool. Seeing Brawly come back is really cool, especially because he's never been canon till now. That's all really cool. But we don't need it for every single last character, and we don't need it for GT Goku. If you want to see GT Goku, luckily there's an entire show that stars GT Goku. It's called GT, and while you guys might have a lot of problems with GT, just like you have problems with the Buu Saga, for me, as a fan of Dragon Ball, I can accept it for what it is and enjoy it for what it is. But obviously, I'm not impressed just because someone goes Super Saiyan 4. I'm not impressed just because someone goes Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta or whatever. I'm not impressed by Super Saiyan 4 or Golden Ape forms or whatever. I'm not impressed by any of that shit. I'm not impressed by Super 17 or Omega Shenron or whatever. But the show is got its good merits and it's fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's got some fun stuff. And honestly, while I do like Super Saiyan 4 Goku, I think he's got a great character design, and I like the idea of like the Ozaru Super Saiyan fusion form. I said fusion, I'm not referring to Gogeta. I'm talking about like how he's very similar to like a great ape in his design, but still very humanoid, and that's like it's kind of like Super Saiyan. It shouldn't even be called Super Saiyan 4 because it's sort of like Super Saiyan God in the sense that it's this whole new, totally different thing. And the smart thing about Super is that because they call it Super Saiyan God, they could build off of that. So now there's Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, and if you're Vegeta, you have Super Saiyan God Evolved. So you can build off of God energy, and that's something that was really smart. Whereas with GT, because they called it Super Saiyan 4, there was nowhere else to go because there was nowhere to call it like Super Saiyan 5 or whatever. But the other thing with Super Saiyan 4 was that it turned Kid Goku into Dragon Ball Z Goku. So GT could switch on the fly between Kid Goku and Adult Goku at any time, and that's kind of what makes that form really fucking cool. But um, it's it's a cool idea and a cool design, but as I'm watching a lot of people play as GT Goku and Fighters, it makes me really realize why that show has some good qualities to it. And most of my favorite moments do involve GT Goku. I don't think Kid Goku was a bad call. I honestly respected it in a lot of ways, but the problem was that the rest of the show just didn't hold up. That was the problem. The problem with GT was just the writing wasn't quite all there. But it doesn't mean it was full of bad ideas, because I know there's a lot of GT fans out there, and let me tell you guys right now, I understand why you like the show. Okay, the show's got some good stuff to it. To me, I just want to be honest about it. Just like with the Boo Saga, it's good and bad. It's got good and bad. And I think Z is mostly just pure goodness and pure gold until the Boo Saga. And Dragon Ball has some like slow moments, but it's for the most part just a fun ride. And I'm not gonna pretend Super's perfect either, guys. I mean, I have problems with the animation all the way up until the Goku Black arc, when I think it started to finally get consistently good. And even then, the storytelling was kind of off in that department. So once we got good animation, we got bad storytelling. Really, a lot of people heavily criticized the Tournament of Power and hate it, despise it. And I think that's the best thing they've ever done with Super. I think that's the best part of Super. I think it's one of the best, coolest moments in Dragon Ball history, just watching those episodes every week, just being hyped every single week. And then we got to the amazing conclusion with Goku and Frieza teaming up to defeat Jiren. It's one of the most beautiful animated things I've ever seen in my life. It's fucking awesome. And now we are with Super Brawly, which does still count as Super in my opinion. And that was also awesome. So to me, it's like bad start, but it's getting better and better and better. Okay? So that's good. And also the movies with Battle of the Gods and Resurrection of F. While the Super version of those movies weren't very good, the movies themselves before Super came out were really, really damn good. So, yeah, let's not forget that both those movies were good, and now this new movie's also really good. So yeah, Goten sucks. That's all I'm trying to say here. I wish Goten was better, but we'll never have a better Goten in my opinion. I don't think he'll ever be good. I think he's just going to be trash forever. And hopefully they can at least do something with the Gotenks character, and they can do something with making Goten a side character that makes him charming, endearing, and fun to be around, and a good support unit for Kid Trunks. I think that's kind of the path Goten's stuck on, but you know what? If they do something where Goten is an amazing support for, friend, support character for Trunks, could be really fucking cool. So we'll just have to see. Anyway, I don't want to ramble anymore about Goten. I'm getting sick of it. Love Dragon Ball though. Love Dragon Ball. That's my statement. I'm playing Dragon Ball Advance Adventure on the Game Boy Advance right now. If you're a fan of Dragon Ball, you're a fan of Dragon Ball Z, you're a fan of video games, if you've probably seen Team 4 Star play this on their Let's Play channel, but other people have talked about this game. Like, I think his name's Austin Eruption, who's talked about this game before. People have talked about this game all the time, and you play as Kid Goku through Dragon Ball. He's got the Power Ball, and watching the GT Goku fights while playing as Kid Goku in the original Dragon Ball without Super Saiyan, without flying and all that stuff. It's just a blast. I'm loving this. I love the Kid Goku character so much, and I'm so happy he's finally in Fighters, and I think the way they did him was the best of all worlds. The only reason why I'm upset about it is because we're not getting Kefla, and I think a lot of people are upset by it because they wanted a full-on Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and Kid Goku kind of takes away from all other possible Gokus. I mean, now we already know we're not getting another Goku. Some people wanted Ultra Instinct Goku. I just didn't see that happening. Some people wanted, just something else, like a Super Saiyan 4 Goku or whatever. But this Goku, I wanted Kid Goku back before the game ever came out. I got what I wanted. You gotta be careful what you wish for, man. You gotta be careful what you wish for, man, because you'll get it. But you know what? He fights awesome. He fights better than I imagined. And the inclusion of making him GT was a perfect call. I know a lot of people are like, yeah, they don't like it because of the principle of it being GT. The principle of the matter of it's GT, and they don't like GT. Well, let me tell you guys, man. Putting GT in fighters is a good call. There's a lot of characters in the game already, so you might as well include one from GT. I don't want a bunch of GT characters, but I did want some. I wanted at least Super Saiyan 4 Goku and maybe Omega Shinron. I thought those two would be really cool. And if we only get one GT character, and it's only Kid Goku, and that's perfect. In my opinion, that is perfect. So I'm really happy with what they did. They really proved to have good decisions, because Kid Goku as a character, like I said back in the day, was a perfect call. It was a perfect choice. He would make so much sense with fighter versatility, and they did things I never would have imagined with the character, and yeah, it's just it's awesome. So I'll leave it at that. We don't need Goten to be awesome because we have Kid Goku. It just sucks because it's like, then why do we have this character of Goten at all? So either way, at least we have Gotenks, who's also an awesome character. He was the first character I predicted, made a video about, because I just said, "There's the guy did Gotenks, man. Gotenks too cool." So they did him, and now Fighters has all the coolest characters except for Kefla and Roshi, and I'm just kind of expecting to see those two in the next game, as well as hopefully Kaba, as well as hopefully Raditz, Zarbon, Dr. Gero, and Deborah, who none of those characters I just mentioned would be good for DLC. They're all not hype enough. They're just not hype enough, but they're perfect for a sequel that where you can tout and say, there's a bunch of more characters now. We threw all these motherfuckers in, so and I'm saying those characters just mentioned are not going to be the main selling points of the sequel, but most of the characters from this game, including the DLC, probably being packaged with the game, plus new characters, plus the promise of future DLC characters, plus tweaks to all the characters so they might play pretty different, plus tweaks to the general gameplay itself, so it won't really be the same game. It'll be something kind of different and new, maybe with different mechanics, different abilities, and oh man, new stages, a brand new story mode, all that stuff. That's what I'm excited for. Like I said, not that excited about DLC characters, man. I'm excited for a new game. So uh, I'm just hoping what we get with these DLC characters are an inkling of an idea of what we'll see in the next game. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up here. Goten is by himself. If Goten by himself is in the next Dragon Ball Fighters, I will shit my pants. It's not going to happen, though. But alright, I'll see you guys on the next.